What's up YouTube? I am Dave Winchester with Law Save Gaming, and today I'm going to talk to you about E3, the Electronic Entertainment Expo. Now E3 is about a week away, and all the big developers and publishers are going to come out and show what they've been working on for the past year or a couple of years. And I want to make my predictions about what you're going to see during these conferences. So just keep on watching. What I'm going to do today is start with the big first-party developers and publishers. So I'm going to start off with Microsoft first because they are horribly losing this console war and really need to bring something new to the table. Last year they released Halo, and this year they released Quantum Break already, and they have Gears of War 4 coming up. Unfortunately, none of those games have really done very well. Halo sold a lot in the first week and then obviously tapered off because a lot of their fan base went to Call of Duty and games like that. And Quantum Break came out, but it was only a single player experience, so people bought it, played it, and then never heard of it again. Gears of War 4 just seems like more Gears. There doesn't seem to be anything really new when it comes to Gears of War, so people just aren't that excited about it anymore. And they also have Scalebound, which was announced a while back, which hopefully they'll announce is releasing soon because they need that support. On top of that, you have games like Recore, which were announced and are supposed to be due out by the end of the year, but we're not quite sure if we're actually going to see that. What I would really like them to do is bring a new IP to the table, since they essentially lost one this year with the closing of Lionhead Studios and kind of just the giving up on the Fable franchise altogether. Will they do that? Probably not, but do they need it? Absolutely. Right now, Sony is crushing them with their first-party games, and they really just need to get their head above water and bring something new to the table. So hopefully we'll see a new IP announced, but who knows? This is Microsoft and they've been screwing up left and right for as long as I can remember. What you should be looking forward to though is the announcement of a newly redesigned Xbox One. And yes, I am predicting that they will announce a new, probably slim model of the Xbox One, hopefully with a little bit more power to it. And the reason I say that is because I think they're going to partner up with Oculus and bring Oculus to the Xbox One. And in order to do that, Oculus Rift really needs more power from the system, so they would be forced to redesign the console and make it a little bit better. They'll probably do like Sony is doing with the PlayStation Neo, where the games are going to be kind of modular, where they'll design them for both low-end and high-end systems, so pretty much developers are going to have to make their games scalable, kind of like PC games are. Which honestly is smart because they didn't have to go and develop the Oculus Rift themselves. All they had to do was take it and make it work on their console, which saved them probably a boatload of time and a shit ton of money. But those are my predictions for Microsoft. Now let's move on to Sony. So considering Sony is so far ahead of the console war, they're probably going to start their presentation with a bunch of PlayStation Vita games. No? They don't do that anymore? Okay, so they'll start off by showing off a bunch of PlayStation 4 games. Most likely The Last Guardian, because that is kind of their ace in the hole. It's been in development for so long, nobody thought it would be coming out. If they showed that game off, people would love it, along with stuff like Ni no Kuni 2 or Kingdom Hearts 3, games that are really linked to the Sony brand. They also have stuff like Horizon Zero Dawn, which hasn't been shown off much, and that's also a first-party game, and it looks amazing, so hopefully they show a little bit of that. And you have stuff from Ready at Dawn, who made The Order 1886. They could show what they've been working on as well, since The Order 1886 pretty much flopped, but the game looked amazing, so if they brought their technical skills to a game that actually played well, I'm sure they would have something really incredible to show off there. What you can expect to see the most of though is PlayStation VR. Now I know VR has pretty much come and gone on the PC front, where you still have those players playing games on Oculus Rift and the Vive, but for consoles this is a whole new sort of foray into it where it doesn't suck like the Virtual Boy did. So they're going to show off the PlayStation VR, they're going to show off tons of games on that, probably you'll see Dreams and maybe the Until Dawn rail shooter possibly. If they bring a new game out, I wouldn't be surprised at that at all. But the big announcement is going to be the redesigned PlayStation 4. Now, Sony redesigns all their consoles after a couple of years. So the PlayStation 2 came out, and then you had that weird PlayStation 2 Slim. Then you had PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 3 Slim, and then they had that weird PlayStation model, the one with the door that opens at the top. Anyways, they are definitely going to announce a newly redesigned PlayStation 4 that's probably going to be more powerful. I don't know if they can make it smaller, only because the PlayStation 4 right now is pretty small, but it tends to get really hot. So I would expect to see a PlayStation 4 that's definitely more powerful, but I don't think it's going to be much smaller than what it is already. Nintendo. I really want you to do well at this year's E3 because normally you just come out and don't do shit. I know recently you announced that you were going to come out and just show Legend of Zelda, and then you changed your mind on that and are going to show something else. A lot of people are looking forward to an NX announcement, hopefully a release date, but I don't see that really happening at this E3. What I do expect them to do is show off a ton of Legend of Zelda, especially since it was delayed. So I want to see what they've been working on that's going to make this game so much better. But what I really expect them to do is say that's also going to be a launch game for the NX. I know a lot of people think this is stupid, but it's really not. Because people like me, if they release it earlier on the Wii U, are going to buy it on the Wii U, no matter what. Because I honestly love Legend of Zelda, and I want that experience as quick as I can get it. And then once they launch the NX, I'll probably pick up an NX, and as a great launch game, I'll want to revisit The Legend of Zelda again. So they'll actually be double dipping. They'll make twice as much money on Legend of Zelda, even though it's going to cost them a little bit more time and money in development, but it's also going to be a huge system seller for them. So that's the big announcement I want them to make. A lot of people think that they're going to announce NX release date and things like that. I don't see that happening. What I do see them doing is showing off more of their mobile stuff and definitely the new Pokemon game. That's really all I expect of them because everything else that they've announced, they pretty much already released it. I hope they do show the NX, but I really doubt that that's going to happen. Now we're going over to the third-party publishers, the big ones. So we're talking EA, Ubisoft, and like Bethesda, 2K, those guys. I'll start off with EA though, so bear with me because I'm going to have to kind of look at a reference sheet because they have tons and tons of stuff coming out. First of all, they're definitely going to show off Madden 17. They're probably going to show off also the new FIFA. From what I hear, they're actually going to be using a new game engine for FIFA, so you'll probably see a lot of that crap even though nobody cares. Also, stuff nobody cares about, Star Wars Battlefront, they're gonna probably show some DLC on that and what's coming out like very soon for that game. Even though like people say it sucks, there's still millions of people playing it. I still enjoy playing it even though I didn't buy the DLC. But expect them to talk about it in quite a bit of depth because there's going to be a sequel to that game and they really want to make sure that fan base is still playing the first game when the second game comes out so they can just kind of move them over. The other thing they're definitely going to show, Battlefield 1. Now I hope they don't just show another like single player trailer or something stupid like that. I want to see actual multiplayer from Battlefield 1. I don't expect any new game modes. I don't expect really anything different except for the gameplay to be different. So I want to see like the trench warfare, the melee combat system, the new planes, the land, sea, air, all that stuff. They really have to show that and it'll really help sell the game. Even though it's already doing a lot better as far as likes and dislikes on YouTube, they really just need to push it out to the audience that's playing Call of Duty and is sick of the futuristic stuff so they can come back to the Battlefield franchise. The other big thing that they're definitely going to show, well, I'm not going to say definitely, but most likely they're going to show, is the Star Wars game that's being developed by Visceral Games. Now, Visceral Games are the people behind Dead Space 1, 2, and 3, and they also did Battlefield Hardline, I believe, as well. But now they're working on a new Star Wars game. I want to see Star Wars, third-person action, really story-driven, something that's going to set it apart from Star Wars Battlefront. That's what I want to see, and I'm hoping they show it off at this E3 because, quite frankly, Star Wars is huge right now, and they would be stupid not to. The other thing that makes this game interesting is they actually have, I believe, one of the writers or the person that was in charge of the story of Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, so you can actually expect a really good story from the game as well. I always forget that BioWare is also part of that whole EA conglomerate now, and they have Mass Effect Andromeda. And since it was announced, they haven't really shown too much about it. But what I want them to do is not only show a single player experience, I think they're going to show something completely different as well. I think they're going to make the game co-op. Now, I could be completely wrong, but imagine a fully co-op Mass Effect game where you could take your character into your friend's game and explore the galaxy that way. It's kind of a dream I have. I don't know if they're going to do it, but I'm really hoping they show something like that off. Or at least have like the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, have it evolve a little bit. I just want some multiplayer in Mass Effect, even though it's mostly a single player experience. I had a lot of fun with the multiplayer, and I don't think that they should scrap that. But definitely expect to see a lot on Mass Effect Andromeda, especially since it's been delayed, so people have been wondering what's going on with the development. So they're really going to have to prove to the fans of the series that they're doing something good and that the delay was kind of necessary. And last but not least from EA, we have Titanfall 2, which I think now is multi-platform, so they could actually show this at the Sony press conference as well, but I think they'll end up just showing it throughout their whole event because I think EA is running their E3 stuff for multiple days or whatnot. But definitely expect to see Titanfall 2. I want them to show off some single player. That was the biggest problem with the first game, was the fact that the single player was mixed with the multiplayer, and the way you had to play the campaign was with other people, but it matched up funny, and the story was never in succession, and there were just all these issues. So just show us a solid single player experience, maybe a little bit of multiplayer and what you guys have changed there, and it'll definitely help sell the game more. Even though I've loved Titanfall, you're gonna have to sell it to the people that were on PlayStation 4 that just thought it was overrated. And the way to do that is shoot off some single player footage, make the story seem really in depth and intense and something that they want to play, on top of showing off a full multiplayer experience that's not as glitchy as the first one was. I still see people teleporting around in kill cams and stuff like that. So just show that nice clean experience, something that sets it apart from games like Infinite Warfare, and it'll definitely make a huge difference. And that's going to be it for EA. Now let's move on to Ubisoft. I remember when Ubisoft used to be one of those publishers that I really liked the games that they put out. I loved Rainbow Six 3, I loved Ghost Recon, and now everything that they put out I just kind of avoid. So games like The Division that launched broken, that wasn't for me. I even tried Rainbow Six because I loved the game so much back in the day before Vegas, and it sucked. So I'm really hoping Ubisoft is taking their time with the games that they decide to announce and show off at this E3 and really do something different. I want to see Ghost Recon Wildlands first of all. I want to see that open world experience, but I want to see the multiplayer as well, because Ghost Recon's multiplayer was so intense back in the early days of Xbox Live. I want a return to form to that. I want to be able to go and hang out in bushes and ambush people and all that kind of stuff, because that's what made the game fun. That's what made it great. Not this crazy action stuff that was kind of secondary. I want that tactical feel. They can do that in an open world setting, then they quite frankly have it made. They're taking a year off from Assassin's Creed, I guess, which is smart because quite frankly everybody hates Assassin's Creed now. It's kind of a sickening story. They're not doing very well. The games are launching very glitchy. So taking this year off is a good thing. But they are going to show off Watch Dogs 2. I think they've already actually announced that they're going to do that, but expect to see Watch Dogs 2. I'm hoping what they do is change it so it doesn't seem like a modern day Assassin's Creed game and kind of make it its own thing. When I first started playing Watch Dogs, that was my biggest issue with it, was the fact that I felt like I was playing a modern Assassin's Creed game where I couldn't climb. So I was driving around the city doing stupid side objectives that I really didn't care about, and in the end it made the game just not fun. So if they can show off something new as far as Watch Dogs goes, I think that it'll change people's minds about that series, and if they don't, then it's just going to be another dead franchise. In case you don't know what For Honor is, they're going to show that off at this year's E3 as well. Imagine a game kind of like Dark Souls, except for more multiplayer focused. So it's a lot of melee combat, but they're also going to do 4v4 online matches, and they're these huge open environments with very like specific castles and things like that that you can fight in. They haven't showed much of it since last year's E3, so I'm hoping that they bring it out of the gate strong and show a lot of footage and a lot of multiplayer stuff and make it feel very different from other third-person action games. But it's definitely a game to look out for. And of course they're going to show off a bunch of DLC for stuff like probably Rainbow Six and The Division and all their other games that people still play. Unfortunately, I'm just not too excited about what Ubisoft is going to show off this year, mostly because they've just disappointed me the past 3 or 4 years. Even with games like Far Cry, like I love Far Cry 3, but Far Cry 4 was pretty much just a retelling of it, and Far Cry Primal I just didn't care for. I didn't care for the setting or what it was about. Hopefully they'll surprise me, maybe come out with like a new franchise or something completely different, revive something that they haven't like done in a while. I don't know, but yeah, Ubisoft, disappointing. And let's move on to the rest of the publishers. Now this last list I'm going to go through pretty quickly. It's all the rest of the huge publishers stuff, but you know, I don't want to spend another 20 minutes talking about it, so I'm just going to say what they're going to put out and move on. So first, let's start off with Square Enix. I want them to come out, show Kingdom Hearts 3, Final Fantasy VII Remastered, and Final Fantasy 15. They do that, they'll have the whole show. Like, they have such great franchises, and I feel like they're keeping them way too tucked away. Well, besides Final Fantasy 15, which we've seen tons of. Also, can you please tell me when I'm going to be able to play Rise of the Tomb Raider on PlayStation 4? Xbox and PC players have had that crap for months now. I know it was timed, but come on, give me a release date at least so I can have something to look forward to. 2K Games has a couple things they want to show off too, so I'm sure they're going to show off some Mafia 3, Civilization Revolution 2 Plus, I guess, and BioShock Remastered compilation, which is really what I'm stoked about, because I want them to take all of the BioShock games, put them into one collection, put it out there, have it 60 frames per second, you know, possibly even up it to Unreal Engine 4, just make it look really nice, and I'll definitely buy that. Even though I already have all the other games on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, I would still love to see them on consoles. The other thing is, 2K Games is also the parent company of Rockstar Entertainment, and Rockstar has already said they're working on new franchises and they're working on something big. So you're either going to see a brand new game from Rockstar, or you're going to see probably a Red Dead Redemption 2, or maybe a little bit of both. Maybe they'll show off 2 games, who knows, but expect to see something huge from Rockstar. And the last publisher I want to talk about is Bethesda. Last year was actually the first year that Bethesda attended E3, and the reason they did it is because they had so much to show us that they figured that one big press conference at E3 would do the job. And they're actually making a return this year, so expect to see some stuff on Fallout 4 as far as DLC. I'm hoping they'll talk about the mod support for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, but definitely expect a fairly large announcement. I don't expect them to really talk too much about Elder Scrolls Online, and I hope they don't. If they do, it'll probably be about DLC for that. But what I definitely am predicting they're going to do is announce Skyrim for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and hopefully they'll even include mod support with that. If they do that, that will hold us over until the next big Elder Scrolls release. Expect that if they do announce that it will launch probably in the end of this year, most likely November, because that's when they tend to launch those games. Bethesda isn't known for remastering stuff, but I feel like if they do this, it will definitely buy them time until their next huge release. So I kind of expect that to happen. There you go, folks. Those were all my E3 predictions for this year. I hope to be right on most of them because I'm usually pretty good at predicting what's happening. But if not, well, I hope I at least get something good out of it and they announce something way out of left field that I wasn't expecting. So let me know what you think in the comment section, what your E3 predictions are. If you like the video, make sure you like it, you share it with your friends. And I hope to see you guys back here after E3 because I'm probably going to do a post E3 video as well. If you want to see more of my content, make sure you subscribe, and I hope to see you soon. Have a good one.